Hello everyone and welcome back to Atman Unlimited. Thank you. That's what this video is going to be all about, is me thanking everybody out there and some very specific viewers as well. Then we're also going to do a little probe tool setter update. So as a lot of you know, I run the company as a part-time business, small shop. I do on average 1 or 2 jobs a month-ish. And the reason why I do that low a volume is, I mean, frankly, that's all the amount of time that I have. Day job, family, a lot of the kids' activities, doing some machining, the YouTube channel. I've got a pretty full schedule. So there's not a lot of capital coming in and out. And if you ever have tried to do a machine shop, you'll understand very quickly that this is one industry that requires a large amount of upfront capital. Not only are the machines expensive, but it's also expensive to keep the machines running, tool holders, consumable tools, work holding. I mean, you know the gamut. So I have gotten a lot of help from the viewers out there, and I just wanted to take an episode to thank everybody. And I'd like to start out with just thanking the people that comment on the videos. I've done a couple of live streams. People have a very nice interactive chat, very constructive conversation happens. And a lot of people have given me a lot of feedback and a lot of comments and said, hey Tim, why don't you try this? We can try that. And that's helped me as well. So even just commenting on a video and getting involved and interacting with the channel has helped immensely, and it helps other people too. So thank you to everybody that watches and comments. And then, as everybody knows, if you see the card in the videos, we have a Patreon page. Now, I don't go out of my way in every video to say, support us on Patreon and, like and subscribe and comment below. I just don't do that. I figure if you like the video and you like the channel, you'll make the decision to subscribe. The content should speak for itself. I shouldn't have to ask you or remind you to subscribe. If you want to subscribe, you will. So I'm not going to bug you to do that. So the Patreons and the patrons that support us on Patreon, I give them a great thank you. A lot of them just give a little tiny bit a month. Some people give more, some people give less. Thank you, I appreciate it. So with the patrons, what have we been using your donations for? Now, specifically, I've been trying to gear the Patreon donations towards the YouTube channel directly. So what can we do to try to make this better? So we had a viewer donate this lavalier mic. So we've got a wireless lapel lavalier mic. Then I used some of the funds from Patreon to buy a specific audio recorder. So now the lavalier mic gets recorded directly to a digital recorder, and then the camera microphone, sometimes I use that to intermix some of the background noise. I'm trying to get a little bit more creative and make nicer edits, make nicer videos. So in following that theme, I made a big purchase this month. Last month when we were doing these first robotic parts, my GoPro housing, I only had a GoPro Gen 1, so really old GoPro. It shot 1080p or 1080i. It worked good enough, but the coolant brittles the plastic and it finally cracked. So I figured, okay, well, maybe it's time to get a new GoPro. So with this round of Patreon funds, we now have a GoPro Hero 4. And this is a Hero 4 Black. It's the one that does not have the screen on the back. Now, I did that for a very specific reason. This camera is Wi-Fi enabled, and I can take my smartphone and connect it through Wi-Fi to the camera. And then, while the camera is in the machine, I'll be able to, A, see the viewfinder. So I'll have a viewfinder now so I can better frame the shots. Before it was kind of point and pray. So now I'll actually be able to frame the shots, so we should be able to get, better framing. And then I can also start and stop the recording while it's in the machine from my phone. I can change the resolution, and then this shoots in 4K. So I do all my videos in 1080, and I don't think I'm gonna fully upgrade and upload in 4K. This camera is only 1080. But because this is 4K, what I can do is I can then zoom in and just use 25% of the picture as full screen on a 1080 video, and it'll look very good. So then it'll give me the option to optically zoom in and zoom out. So I'll be able to do a lot cooler effects with this. So this was all supported by our patrons. So I appreciate that. Now the reason why I did not buy a GoPro 5 was price and features. The GoPro 5 I think it was like 400 or 500 bucks. I was able to get this for $250, so I'm spending your money wisely. And this has all the same video quality that the GoPro 5 does. I don't think it has quite the low-level light sensitivity, you know, but it shoots in 4K. It shoots, I believe it does 30 frames per second. It's good enough for what we're doing. So it was a good compromise between cost and performance. And I really like the Wi-Fi enable. And then because I can operate it with the phone completely, start recording, stop recording, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna machine a housing for this out of aluminum, and I don't have to put any buttons in the housing because I can control it all from my phone. So as long as the Wi-Fi signal can get out through the glass, we'll have to test that. Might have to put a plexiglass back on it so the Wi-Fi signal can get out if it's blocked by the aluminum. But also I got help on that. So if you don't watch Peter's channel, Edge Precision, he has an awesome 5-axis Mazak, and he makes really cool videos. He's doing a lot of very, very advanced machining. He sent me the model that he used because he already made a GoPro housing out of aluminum. So I'll be able to leverage Peter's model to make a housing for this. So that project's coming up sometime in the future. I don't know when exactly. I've got a lot of stuff coming up on the plate. So GoPro is awesome from the viewers, or from the patrons. Also, I've got some funds left on the Patreon account that I'm going to buy another Noga indicator holder. So I use the Noga to hold the GoPro in the machine, but the challenge I've always had when I shoot the videos where I'm measuring stuff is I've got the GoPro on the Noga, but I don't have a good indicator base to hold the indicator. So we're going to get another Noga indicator. So thank you, patrons. I greatly appreciate it. Now, in addition to the viewers commenting and helping, and the patrons donating to our Patreon page, I also get people that email me and contact me, and they see a video and say, hey Tim, I saw you doing this in the video. Why are you doing that? Can I help you? And the fact of the matter is that I try to spend my money very wisely. So the big thing that I try to focus on is the quality of the parts out the door. So am I making spec on the parts, and can I make the parts faster? So if I'm having trouble meeting spec, that's an area I want to spend money on. If I can make the parts faster, that's an area I want to spend money on. So the big purchase that I made personally with the company was the Spindle Probe. And the Spindle Probe was for two reasons. One, quality of parts. So the Spindle Probe is much more accurate in setting work offsets. And I had a couple of parts where op 1 and op 2 were misaligned by a thou, and I was trying to hold some very tight tolerances. And a thou's not a lot. When you're trying to set something with a test indicator or a feeler gauge or a, oh darn. See, even I get tripped up. So if you're trying to set up your work offsets using test indicators or an edge finder or any other means, a thousandth of an inch is asking a lot. That's pretty tight for those types of detection methods. The Spindle Probe will allow us to hopefully get under a thou and get into the tenths range. Now, the Spindle Probe and the OMM and everything, that was all, the company's money. Now, the tool setter that we just showed setting up, that was actually donated by a viewer. And that is a huge, huge item to have donated. And I am forever grateful. It's awesome. So, along with being able to probe and measure accurately, now I'll be able to set my tools both extremely accurately and also very quickly. So again, I want to increase the quality of the product out the door, and that's my main focus when I invest. Now, I also got an email from a viewer that said this, and it's in relation to my Chars Indicator. And yes, my 5/10 Chars Indicator is one of the best indicators I have. Now, I do have another indicator. So I do have a small Federal 5/10 indicator as well. Honestly, I find that the Chars Indicator, works pretty darn decently. It's $35, so I don't cry if I accidentally crash it, which I did, and it still worked. So, if you're starting a shop and you're budget-minded, don't be afraid of these cheap test indicators. Are they the best? By no means. In the video, you saw that if you swept this way and then swept that way, there was about 2.5, 3/10 of hysteresis in this. Again, if you were aware of it, you can work around it. Okay? But back to the email, they said, you know what? That is just not good enough. If you're doing this high accuracy measurement work, you need good tools. And that's true. Once you start getting into trying to make parts into the tenths rather than the thousandths, you need to spend the money on the tools. So they were very, very gracious, and they sent a nice, focus, there we go, a very nice Mitsutoyo 1/10 indicator. Okay, again, just very generous. It blows my mind at how generous people are. Yes, these videos take a lot of time to make, but the majority of them really don't cost me a lot of money. I'm going to spend the money anyway for the shop, but they do take a lot of time to make. I also do a lot of, pro bono work, specifically for First Robotics. That was a lot of machining work that we did this year. The First Robotics team paid zero. They didn't pay any tooling, they didn't pay any labor, they didn't pay any materials. I got the materials donated from other shops, of friends that I know. I bought some of the tooling. Some of the tooling was donated from viewers. So I have viewers send me in packages of tooling, which is just awesome. And not garbage tooling either. Carbide tooling, really good high-speed steel cutters, high-quality tooling. So, I try to take what you guys give and gals and pay it forward to other things that I do. So now, going back to the tool setter, now that we've got this tenths indicator, let's see how good we did using the 5/10 Chars indicator. So our goal was to try to get that flat within a tenth, and we were using a 5/10 indicator. So now I'll set this indicator up in the machine, and I'll set up the new GoPro, and let's sweep over the surface of the stylus and see how flat we got it using a really high quality tenths indicator. So you could see that as we're sweeping across the surface, and I'm just very, very slowly jogging it at a very consistent rate, we've got about a tenth of accuracy. So there's a little bit of slope in it, about a tenth, a little bit less than a tenth in X and in Y. So we're not that bad. Now, I figured we were that good because what I didn't show in the video is I took the tip of the dowel pin test, and on the stylus, I probed the stylus on each very edge, and it was repeatable within a tenth. So I knew it must be flat within about a tenth. So we hit the target spec that I was trying to hit. Now, me being me, I can't leave well enough alone, so I'll probably go in and just eke out one of those Allen set screws just a little bit to get that, under a tenth, because, there's always room for improvement, right? So thank you very much for the test indicator. That is going to come in very, very handy. I don't think I'm going to use it on setup work, just because using a tenths indicator on setup work is kind of hard because they're so sensitive. And I don't want to risk crashing that. So I'm going to use that when I'm doing machine inspections and measurements, and if I'm measuring parts and stuff like that. So there's room for both types of test indicators, your cheapies and your really high quality tools. And that's a very high quality tool, and I thank you. So I got another email from a viewer after he watched the probe installation, and this is from John at Rush Designs. So I'm going to put a link to his website down in the description. He sent me an email and said, hey Tim, you know that seal tight that you couldn't find anywhere that was like a minimum order of, I think it was like a 500-foot minimum order, a 100-foot minimum order? He was installing a lot of probes in a bunch of machines, so it was beneficial for him to do that large quantity order. And he emailed me and said, hey, I got some left. Would you like it? I said, yeah, sure. So he sent me enough conduit to restring the piece of polyethylene tubing that I used. So the next time I have to break into the wiring inside the machine cabinet, I'll pull back. I got to pull back the wiring all the way to the touch probe to put this in, but this is definitely going to go in. I like this better than the polyethylene tubing because if you notice, it hangs much more relaxed and it's much more flexible. So I'm not going to have this huge spiral curlicue in the machine. So that's the benefit of using the correct stuff. The polyethylene, I think it's polyurethane, sorry, is holding up great. You know, the coolant doesn't seem to be affecting it yet, but we'll see how that goes over time. I might have to put this in if it starts to embrittle and crack. So thank you to John at Rush Designs. Greatly appreciate that. Okay, what else do we got? Kurt Vise. So for the longest time, I was running one vise in the machine, and then we've got a part coming up where I'm gonna actually show two vise operation and how I do two-station operation. I've used both vices at the same time on a bunch of parts already. Unfortunately, I can't show those parts, so you can't see them in action, and I feel really bad because this was donated quite a while ago to the channel, and I just can't show it because I've been using it on parts that I can't show. But we've got another Kurt D688, and the timing on this was perfect because Kurt actually discontinued the D688 vise. They sell a little bit better model. So they were able to find this in existing stock, and then they sent it to me. So now this vise matches the current D688 that I had within 2/10. So that's like wicked cool. So now not only can I do two-station operations, but if I have these longer flat parts that I've been struggling with, if I can fit them in a vise a little bit easier, then I can span two vices and hold them that way. So very cool. Thank you very much for the vise. Tool holders. We got tool holders too. We had a viewer send us a set of very nice Meritool tool holders. The tool holders I bought are Technics. These are Meritool. Very nice tool holders. The nice thing is that the wrenches that I use on the Technics tool holders match the collet nuts on the Meritool tool holders. So that was really good, so I can use all the same tools. They're very nice tool holders. They run true. The run out is really good on them. They included the pull studs. So they sent 3 ER32s and 3 ER16s. So again, just awesome. And what this does is I didn't have enough tool holders to fully load up the machine. So when I got more complex parts in the shop that required a lot of tools, I ended up playing the tool swap game. So I would run one op with one set of tools, and then I would have to stop, break the machine down, load up all my tool holders with the new set of tools, put them all back in, set them all again, and then start up another op. Now I've got enough tool holders to completely fill the tool carousel on the machine, so I don't have to play that start and stop game. I can load up all the tools and run all the ops for the part from start to finish, so I don't have to stop halfway through. This is huge because it's a huge time saver. Everything can get loaded and set up front, and then we just run, which is awesome. So thank you so much for the tool holders. They are coming in very handy and, you know, increases efficiency huge. Now, if you've ever used collet holders, you will know that when you buy a collet set, there's like 4 or 5 Kaulitz in that set that you use all the time, and then the rest of them get used sometimes. And you always run out of the Kaulitz that you use all the time. So we've had Kaulitz donated to the channel. So we've got all of these wonderful Kaulitz. Now the Kaulitz all the way to the right side here are the ones that have been donated by viewers. All the Kaulitz in the wood rack are Kaulitz that I purchased. Now what's really nice here is I've got a good mix of ER16 and ER32. Those are the 2 tool holder sizes that I use to cover a lot of different sizes and a lot of common sizes. So I've got a whole bunch of 1/8 inch Kaulitz, a couple of 5/32 Kaulitz, a whole bunch of 3/4 Kaulitz. So I use a lot of 3/4 mils, a lot of slitting saws and concave convex cutters. So all of my arbors have 3/4 shanks. So I tend to run out of 3/4 ER32 Kaulitz quite a bit. So I've got more than enough 3/4 inch Kaulitz now. I've got more than enough of the 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch, 3/8 inch. You know, all the common sizes that I've always been running out of. There have been times where I've had tool holders left over, but I didn't have enough Kaulitz to put all the tools in the machine. So, you know, that gets very frustrating. So, you know, Kaulitz have been donated. And again, just awesome, you know, generosity from our viewers. So, I know I didn't cover everything. I mean, we've had so much stuff donated to the channel. I just wanted to take a time out. I know this video is getting kind of long, and just kind of show and review some of the stuff and say thank you. So the other thing I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get a little bit more organized, to get my stuff, you know, better centrally located. I didn't have a second place to put the vise, so I kind of have the vise sitting down on a little plastic stool to, you know, put it somewhere. So I bought a second toolbox. So the toolbox, I'm getting organized with my, you know, calipers and micrometers and everything. So I've got one toolbox that's going to be, you know, measuring and setup, and then I've got a second box that's going to be, you know, I'm going to set my, I've got my existing cart, I should say. I'm going to set my vices on that, and you know, try to get just more organized. So what is coming up? Well, because of everybody's support and everybody watching these videos, we've been noticed. We've been noticed by some very key people and things. So there are going to be some really cool videos coming up. I've been talking to a lot of people. We're going to be doing some more demonstrations on some stuff. We're going to be doing some reviews of some stuff, and it's going to be wicked cool. So the channel's growing. Again, and it's all thanks to everybody that is helping and watching and commenting. You know, this channel has become a very good resource for people with Fidel machines, and it's also become a very good resource in, you know, just machine maintenance and setup in general. You know, and we throw some machining operations in there as well. So really cool stuff on the horizon. You know, stick with me. The videos might be hit and miss a little bit just because I'm so busy doing some really cool stuff, but it's going to pay off in the end, and we're going to get some really cool videos. I'm trying to focus on quality and try to up the quality of the videos. So thank you again. Last little plug, if you'd like to have a Atman Unlimited shirt, we do. My wife's side of the business is sewing and embroidery, so we do embroidered shirts. So if you'd like a nice Atman Unlimited polo or a t-shirt embroidered, let me know. Just send an email, and we can make you up a shirt and get that sent out to you. If you'd like company shirts, we also can do company shirts. So if you'd like shirts made with your company logo on it, you know, we do that as well. You know, I don't do the send it out to a third party. They take a cut, and then, you know, I just get a little slice of it. So if you buy a shirt from us, except for the materials of it, you know, buying the shirt and the materials, you know, all the proceeds, you know, go into the company. Okay, I'm going to stop there. I'm rambling. Thank you. stay tuned, and we'll see you on the next one.